Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kens TV in the house like kitchen sinks. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment. Definitely share. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And be sure to hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action and this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive. Now, with no further ado, let's get into this morning's video, if you will. 12:05 a.m. I'm feeling good. I just got off. And check my emails. Actually, I checked my emails earlier, and I had a viewer say, Real Kens, you frequently speak about, being incarcerated. What are some of the regrets, or your deepest regret, rather, that you have, as far as you being incarcerated, and what all has prison taken away from you in your life? That's a deep question. And I'm glad that I had some, a few hours, several hours actually, to reflect on that, because I want to be as genuine as I can possibly be. Prison takes a lot away from you, and I don't want to say this in a fashion as far as prison comes knocking on your door, say, hey, Real Kens, come on with us. Your name's been drawn out of a hat. No, you do it to yourself. So I want to take accountability, make sure that it's known that the police never just come knocking at your door. Well, I'm not going to say never, but rarely come knocking at your door and just, take you in. Typically, you've done something. So now we've gotten that out of the way. I frequently speak on prison, as the viewer mentioned. I'd say one of the deepest and most regretful things that's taken place, and I have to make sure that I don't make victim statements, because when I say stuff like, oh, this happened to me, or that they took from, those are victim statements. I put myself in prison. No one else put me there. You see what I'm saying? So I take full responsibility and accountability for the times that I landed myself in prison. It's the year 2000. Latter part of 2000, maybe September, October, what have you. Met this nice young lady. Oh, my God, man, she was nice. She was nice, y'all. And, I was still with my daughter's mother at the time, but it was just one of those situations to where it was ending. It was over with. You know how you in one of those relationships where basically the relationship's over with. It's just, it hasn't been made official. So it was one of those things. My daughter was 2. I was trying to stick around and work it out because I always wanted to be in the house with my kid or with my, my kids or what have you. But it just wasn't working out. I met the young lady, and she was going to EKU, Eastern Kentucky University, probably 20, 25 minutes away from, where I was residing, and actually where I still reside. So, we hit it off or what have you, went to her house. She loved to drink. Now, for whatever reason, the body was just, oh my God, but she loved to drink Coronas. That's all she really drank. She didn't really drink too much hard liquor. She loved to drink Corona. So when I go to the house, she got a refrigerator full of beer. We kick it, we have a good time, and, everything's everything, to say the least. Well, she got to explaining her story to me. At the time, she wasn't driving. So she had been in school for like 2.5 years. She had recently gotten thrown off of campus because she caught a DUI coming back from the club one night, whole lot of, finger popping or what have you, as we all do when we was in college or what have you, not trying to condone any of that, sort of behavior. But back then you didn't have Ubers, you didn't have Lyft, you didn't have any of that. But still, you got to be responsible and do the right thing. So she had, caught a DUI, and they were actually going to throw her out of school because she was at EKU on a full scholarship. So her mother called up there, and they were able to, I don't know, she talked to the dean, the chancellor, I don't know who she talked to. But they threw her off campus. She lost her housing, but she was allowed to remain, in college on under conditions. So I guess she was on some form of probation. So she moves not too far away from the campus, and it's not in the best of neighborhoods, but, it's clean. It's an apartment, and she's able to get back and forth to her classes without a whole lot of difficulty because it's not too far, and it's not too far away from her job. Well, as one would imagine, her mother took the car away from her, so she didn't have transportation. At the time, she was a couple years in, so I don't know, maybe she was 21, 22, something like that. I don't know if she went straight to college right out of high school. Because typically when you come out of high school, you're 17, most time 18, and she was 2.5 years in. So maybe she took a year off. I don't remember. It's in the year 2000. But with that being said, she had her own place. And, I would frequent maybe twice a week, 3 times a week. We have fun. We drink our beer, laugh, kick it, listen to music. And then, she had a second floor. Her bedroom was upstairs. And, the rest is the rest. I'm quite sure that you can imagine what the rest of the night would consist of. And the next morning, because she didn't have a car, I would take her to work. She did have a full-time job. She was in college, as I mentioned, so I'd take her to work, and then from work, I guess she would get a ride to her classes or what have you. December came. She went home for Christmas break. Now, I believe at the time her mother had a military background, so I believe her mother was staying in like Dallas, and if it wasn't Dallas, it was in Texas somewhere. So she goes home to Texas. College Christmas breaks are rather long, 5-6 weeks at the time. So we really don't talk too much at that time. She comes back, she calls me. The year 2000, you have to keep in mind, everybody doesn't have cell phones. She didn't have a cell phone. I had a cell phone. So when you call somebody from a house phone, guess what? It was long distance. So we didn't really have too much communication at the time when she was gone. She calls me, she was like, I'm back or what have you. You coming down tonight? Yeah, I'm coming down. So, I'm thinking everything's going to be everything, the same that it always is whenever I go and visit her. Well, I knock on the door once I arrive. She answers the door. But typically when she comes to the door, she got the Corona in her hand and she's, how you doing, baby? She got my Corona. She's handing. Wasn't that type of party this time. She comes to the door. She has a robe on. Now, it wasn't one of those sexy robes. It was one of those long robes. She had like the little thing over her head or whatever. And she has a heating pad on her side. Dudes are, man. Sometimes we not the most sentimental. We not the most, what's wrong with you? She's like, come on in. So I come inside. I sit down. No drinks, no nothing. No music playing. Somber environment. This is not the type of environment that I'm used to when I go and see her. So she was like, well, I wanted you to come down. I want to talk to you. So I'm like, yeah, well, I'm here. Talk to me. What's going on? She was like, well, I wasn't feeling good. I was throwing up. I was having stomach aches and what have you. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me that I'm pregnant. So many weeks pregnant. I'm like, what? She was like, yeah, I'm pregnant, Now, I'm in shock because when she's telling me this, I'm like, whoa. Only thing I'm thinking about is like, I got a 2-year-old. Her mother, we're not totally done yet, but I know it's kind of on the basically that relationship's over with, and I know that it's gonna be over real soon, but I'm thinking about that relationship for whatever reason, and I'm just like, whoa, you pregnant? I remember the night that it could have potentially happened. You see what I'm saying? So I'm thinking about that, so I don't jump in defense mode. I'm not like, oh man, nah, it ain't mine. Or so she was like, well, I haven't been with anybody else, and I wanted to tell you I'm not keeping the child, but I just wanted to tell you first. I don't know what to think. I'm a young dude. I'm probably maybe 23 at the time, somewhere right around in there. So I'm speechless. Yeah, she's been gone for 4, 5, 6 weeks, and I haven't seen her. But yet, I do recall the night that it could have potentially happened. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. She was like, I go to the doctor on Friday, and, we're going to discuss, I'm not keeping the baby. I don't say anything. I stay for a little while. I end up leaving or whatever. I'm like, okay, well, listen, call me on Friday. Let me know what the doctor says. She's like, okay. In hindsight, I should have gone to the doctor with her. But as I mentioned, I'm 22, 23 years old. I don't, at the time, I didn't really know that. So that Friday came, she calls me up. She was like, well, the doctor told me I may want to hold off because it looks like I'm having twins. Oh, twins. What? Yeah, it looks like that, I'm pregnant with twins, potentially. I'm like, man, again, I'm even more shocked now. I'm shocked about one baby. So you can imagine 2 babies. I'm like, wow. They want me to come back next Friday, and they're going to do whatever procedure that they was going to do to verify it, to confirm it, or what have you. This was 20-something years ago, so I don't remember all the lingo and exactly what they said, but, you know, I'm somewhere in the major scope of things. I'm saying pretty much what was being said. So I'm like, okay. I was like, okay, well, call me Friday. Let me know what they said. She was like, okay. Friday comes, I don't hear anything from her. Saturday comes, I still don't hear anything. So I call. Now, at the time, as I mentioned, everybody didn't have cell phones in the year 2000. It was like maybe September, October of 2000, somewhere right around in there. Everybody didn't have cell phones. Actually, no. Let me rewind. This was in January of 2001 at that particular time, because she had came back from Christmas break, you know. So, as I mentioned, everybody didn't have cell phones. She had just moved maybe 3 or 4 months to her apartment. She didn't have a phone yet. Struggling college student. She would go next door and use her neighbor's phone. Her and her neighbor, you know, was real cool, what have you. So I had her neighbor's number, and I called, and her name was Michelle. I said, hey, is Michelle there? She was like, hold on just a second. She would go next door, knock on the door. No, baby, she's not here. I don't know. I said, okay, well, make sure you tell her, you know, that I called or whatever. I'm calling to, you know, never heard anything. Sunday came, I called again. I called a couple times. She still wasn't there. I didn't know what was going on. Monday came, I go and see my probation officer. My probation officer locks me up because I got a pending case. And I did something wrong. Probably messed up the terms of my the conditions of my release. I don't know. I was ignorant back then. Ain't no telling what I did. So they locked me up. The thing about it is, I never told Michelle that I had a pending case. She never knew about me potentially going to prison. It just never came up. You know, our when we seen each other, everything was very casual. You see what I'm saying? We never, you know, we went to the movies, went out to eat 1 or 2 times or what have you. But it was just, she was in school. It was understood. She was trying to finish school. I was doing me. So it was just like when we hooked up, we hooked up. We didn't really, and it was very, very irresponsible. So anybody's watching this video, I highly recommend you don't do anything like that. I was very, very irresponsible. I was young. But that's just what it was. I go to jail. When I go to jail, I don't get out. Literally, when I go to jail on that Monday, I get out 3 years later. 3 years later. So you can imagine when I go to jail, I don't have her friend's, her neighbor's number memorized. I don't have a way to call her. She's probably calling my phone. And at some point when you go to jail, you know, you don't pay your phone bill. Guess what? Your phone gets turned off. So I can imagine that she was like, wow. I tell the guy that I'm pregnant. He stops answering my calls. And then, at some point, his phone is disconnected. So, he probably just changed his phone number on me. Which absolutely was not the case. But when you're trying to think, you know, how another individual or what another individual's doing, those type of thoughts would enter your mind as it would mine or anyone else. I go to jail. The whole time, I'm thinking about this situation. I don't know what to do. None of my friends know who she is. I don't know any of her, you know, affiliates, associates, or what have you. The only thing I know is her name is Michelle. She goes to EKU. She works at Ryan's Steakhouse at the time. That's where she was working at. And she recently had a DUI. That's all that I know. I couldn't even remember her last name. I believe that it started with a G, as in goat. But I could not remember. As I mentioned earlier, we were very, very irresponsible. You know, the fun that we were having was irresponsible fun. There's responsible fun and there's irresponsible fun. We were having irresponsible fun. One day, I say, okay, I ask my mom. She gets me the address to the place where she lived at. I write a letter. I send it to the office. Explain to them, you know, the situation that I'm trying to reach her. Could you please forward this letter, take this letter to her? I'm desperately trying to let her know that, you know, I explained, I put it all out on the table. I never heard anything. I didn't really expect to hear anything, but I never heard anything. 3 years later, I end up getting out. As soon as I get out, I ride down there. Not the same day, but within, I had to get my license and everything straight, but within a week or so, I ride down there. As expected, she doesn't live there anymore. I never thought that she would live there because she talked about transferring to either Ohio State University or somewhere in Ohio. For whatever reason, she had some affiliation with Ohio. She wanted to go to Ohio. Gone. Not there. I check everything that I could possibly check. This is 2004. I'm looking, the EKU yearbooks. I'm desperately trying to figure out where she's at. I never could. You got to keep in mind, in 2004, Facebook and Instagram and all these things didn't exist. So, and if they did, I didn't know anything about them because I never got on Facebook until maybe 2008, 2009. So the whole time I'm just thinking to myself like, wow, I wonder what happened. I couldn't remember her last name. I know that she had a sister that went to Kentucky State University, and my partner that went to Kentucky State University, he knew her sister, but by this time, he couldn't even really remember what the sister's name was. So I'm doing everything that I can possibly do. Call some private investigators. They want a boatload of money that I didn't have. So I'm like, whoa, she must really think I'm a real slime bucket. Years later, I ended up going back to prison again, doing some dumb stuff as I typically did when I was younger. I got out. When I got out at that point, I believe it was 2009, they had Facebook. I didn't know anything about Facebook. The young lady that I was dating at the time, I guess she didn't trust me. She went on Facebook, set up a whole profile, my pictures, everything. So she's sending people messages as though it was me. Clearly wasn't me. Well, it wasn't clear to the people, but to me, I'd say clearly wasn't me. But nevertheless, I came home. I have a whole Facebook file set up. I got like 400 friends. I'm like, wow. I'm typing in Michelle. Well, as one would imagine, Michelle, how many Michelles? This is a very, very common name. Probably one of the most common female names. So I'm typing in Michelle G. At this point, it's like 2009, maybe 2010, somewhere right around in there. I don't know, I remember what she looks like, but, a lot changes in 10 years, 10 years, with a person's appearance. So I'm typing in Michelle G. So many Michelles is coming up. I don't know where she's at. I don't know. I'm looking at Kentucky. I'm looking up the EKU, which is Eastern Kentucky University. I'm looking up the yearbooks, the year that, people graduated. I'm going on the site looking, trying to find like arrest records, like people that got DUIs in the year of 2000. I'm doing everything that I could possibly do. I just didn't have the money, as I mentioned, to get a private investigator. I'm doing everything that I could possibly do to find her. I never could. I looked, never could. And I'm not even sure if she even knew my last name. See, my mother was like, nah, she wants you. She'll find you. She wants you to know. If she had them kids, she'll let you know. But, mothers are going to say stuff like that. And typically mothers are right. But I was just trying to let her know, like, Mom, I don't even know if she really knew my last name like that because we wasn't discussing last names. We was kicking it, having fun, doing what, college people do or what have you, even though at that time I was no longer in college. I don't think she really knows my last name like that. And social media was just now really, starting to take off. So how can she possibly reach me? She doesn't know any of my relatives, any of my friends. She don't even know exactly where I live at. She knows what city I live in, but she don't know anything like that. So how could she just miraculously reach me? And to answer the question in a nutshell, pause, that the viewer asked me, that's one of the things that haunts me most. To this day, in the year 2024, here it is. This happened at the end of 2000. At the end of 2000, that haunts me most because I don't know what happened. I don't know if I have twins out there that obviously are grown now and just thought that, that I abandoned them. I don't know. Like, I just have no clue. And I would tell her, if I was able to speak to her, I would tell her, like, listen, the same thing that I've told you all, I would tell her, like, I understand how it looks, but it wasn't like that whatsoever. I never, changed my number on you or cut my phone off or when I went to the probation office on that Monday, I never in a million years thought that I was going to be arrested. I had done something minor, and the probation officer was just like, you know what, enough is enough. Stand up and put your hands behind your back. And I'm like, whoa. And I never knew. I never knew that I was going to be locked up. And to this day, I don't know what happened. Every once in a while, I'll jump on Facebook and type in Michelle G, but I don't know if she's married. I don't even remember 100% if it's Michelle G. You see? And that's one of the things that prison will strip you of. Yeah, you put yourself in prison, but prison will strip you of a lot of things. And it's just one of those things to where when I'm in a situation, I'm actually going to get me a private investigator. And I'm going to find her. Hopefully, she's still with us, alive and well. And I just want to find out what happened and give her an explanation and give her an apology and let her know the exact scenario on my end. Yeah, I think about that often. I really do think about that because, kids, man, I love the kids, man. I'm always be there for my kids. Now, being incarcerated is not being there for your kids. See, a lot of people say, oh, man, I love my kids to death. But if you really, really love your kids, guess what? You're not going to put yourself in a predicament, in a situation where you can be taken away from your kids. So you can be out here in the streets and coming up on this fast money and getting them Jordans and getting them all the things that they like materialistically, material-wise. But at the end of the day, they want and need you. So if you really, really love your kids, you're going to stay out here. You're going to do what it takes to stay out here. Forget them Jordans, man. They don't do nothing but outgrow them. And video games and all them things like that. Okay, you can get them, but you can get those things from working. A lot of times we tell ourselves, nah, man, I got to provide for my kids. No, you're trying to provide for yourself. You're trying to make sure that yourself is, you're good. Yeah, you're going to take care of your kids and make sure they good, but you're trying to provide for yourself. Because you care anything about your kids, you're not going to put yourself in a predicament or in a situation where you can be taken away from your kids. I understand that now. Back then, not making any excuses for myself, because again, I take full accountability for my actions. That wasn't my mind frame. So I've never used a drug a day in my life. I haven't smoked weed in probably 25 years. And even when I did, I only did it a few times because my partners was doing it. Not to knock people that do it or say I'm better than anyone else. I'm just saying that wasn't my thing. My addiction was money, fast money. I had money at a young age. You give a 21-year-old $75,000. Back then was a lot of money. Hell, you give me that now. It's a lot of money. And when that money's gone, you so used to being able to do what you want to do. Well, guess what? You're not trying to wait on no $300 a week paycheck, $350, $400 if you got overtime, because taxes eat them overtime, overtime hours up or what have you. You're not trying to wait on that. Well, you should. Turtle don't always lose the race. You should. But back then, my mentality was, man, I got to get this money any means necessary, as long as I'm not hurting anybody. I wasn't robbing. I wasn't shooting anybody. I wasn't doing anything. My thing was white collar crime. So when I hit a lick, as people like to call it, when I hit a lick, I'm hitting for $40,000, $50,000. Now I had to split that up with people. I wasn't getting the whole guap, but I'm just saying $40,000, $50,000. And the danger in that is, okay, you get it, you split it up, you break it up with the people that helped you get it or whatever. So, okay, I'm gonna put this into this business, and boom, I'm gonna hit. But when that business don't hit, guess what? Now you low on money. All right, well, I'm going to do it one more time. And it just rarely works out like that. Every blue moon it might, but typically it's not going to work out like that. This is not the movies. So what keeps me out of prison now, it's not hard for me to do the right thing. Do I ever get tempted? No, I don't. To be honest, I've been out of prison for several years. Do I ever get tempted? No. You know why? Because I understand where that's going to take me to. I understand the road that if I do it one time, it's going to turn into a lifestyle. You rarely do something one time and then it's like, okay, boom, I go hit 40, 50,000 and Boom, I'm done. A lot of things have changed over the years. Technology, a lot of things. So I probably would have to, if I wanted to, I'm not even gonna say that because that's making it as though I'm trying to brag. Like, well, if I wanted to, I could. I don't know because things have changed now so much. Back then, the technology wasn't, as you can imagine, nearly how it is now. I don't know, and I don't want to know. So when you all see me on here with my Papa John's and man, I do it for one or two reasons. Well, actually, I do it for a couple of reasons, not one or two reasons. I do it for a couple of reasons. For one, I'm always at work. So I'm making content whenever I have an opportunity, either before I go to work, while I'm at work, after I get off work. So by me always being at work and I'm making content all the time, I have on my work uniform. But another reason I do it is to show people, man, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to go work at Papa John's and make pizzas, make dough, flip the dough in there, and it's okay to do it. It's okay to go to McDonald's and flip burgers. It's okay to go to Burger King and work the fry machine. You see what I'm saying? It's okay to sweep. It's okay to, take out the trash. It's okay to clean windows. It's okay to DoorDash. It's okay to Uber. It's okay to do these jobs that may not be the most glamorous jobs. Guess what? Money's money and a paycheck is a paycheck. Now, money's not money if it's illegal money. But if it's money that's, earned in the honest way, guess what? Money's money. You don't have to continue to do what you're doing. It's just a start. You go there. When I first came home, I worked at Burger King. Very apprehensive because a lot of people know me, especially in the neighborhood that I was in. Oh, man, they're going to see me. I'm at the drive-thru, and I'm taking people's money, and I was embarrassed. I'm going to keep it all the way real. Can I take your order? Then they come to the front. What's up, man? But guess what? They didn't laugh at me. Man, people was tipping me and everything. Man, people respected me more seeing me out there working. Seeing me out there making an honest living opposed to getting it the fast way, getting it the easy way. Because they get it the honest way. So they can respect that. So yeah, I wasn't making them but like $8.50 an hour when I first came home. Then I got me another job. Actually, I ended up getting me another job to where before I went to Burger King, I was washing dishes. She paid me $12 an hour. I work maybe 4 or 5 hours a day. Then boom, go straight to Burger King. And that's what I was doing when I first came home. Got my credit together, learned about credit. I knew somebody knew something about credit. Got my credit up to about 700 and something, 730 before my car got stolen. But that's a totally different situation. I think I told you all about that in a prior video. But these are the things that you can do and achieve when you come home. You don't always have to be a penitentiary, have a penitentiary mindset. You don't have to continue that lifestyle. You don't have to keep going back and, man, they're going to laugh at me. Who cares if they laugh? Because the people that's laughing, guess what? They're going to be in prison. Hey, mama, can you send me $35 this week? Man, you lose so much when you go to prison. You know how much that I've lost? How much money I've lost? When the people kick your door in or they pull you over, the money. My last case they took, was it my last case or the case before last? I had $6,500 on me. Only because I was going to go to the casino and, I had a lawn care business. They took my 2 riding mowers, my trailer, my truck. And I ended up getting that back. The judge gave it back to me. But still, they tried to take it. I had a carpet cleaning business. I had all type of nice, expensive machines where we was going in cleaning people's carpet. Had 2 ice cream trucks back in the day in the year 2000 when I was telling you, about the situation with Michelle. Had 2 nice ice cream trucks, man. Fixed them up. I drove one, had somebody else drive another one. I've always had the entrepreneurial frame of mind. Problem is the patience. I want that money now. My partner Jason, man. Shout out to Jason, man. He watches a lot of my videos. And I just want to shout out to Jason because he helps me a lot, man. Jason 5. I believe that's how, it's Jason with V. I don't know if it's Jason 5 or if it's Jason V. I'm going to have to ask him about that. Because I don't know if the V represents a 5 or if it's Jason V as in V starts with his last name. But Jason, you know who you are. But nevertheless, he tells me, man, all the time, man. He tells me in my comments, steady, man. Be steady. Be consistent, which I am. And just be steady. Your time's going to come. So I think that with this whole YouTube thing, this is my 9th month. with YouTube. I'm already monetized. People say that that's a lot earlier than most people get monetized. I don't know. I find myself getting a little frustrated at times, but then I scale back and I say, what am I frustrated for? This ain't about money. I enjoy doing what I'm doing. But I see other people's numbers. I do. I'm not going to lie. I see other people's numbers. Like, why am I not getting... I understand I'm not going to get Jay Williams numbers, Son Campbell numbers. I'm not going to get Big Hurts numbers. These guys have been doing it 4 or 5, longer than that, 7, 8 years. But I feel like my numbers should be more, but I think God's trying to show me, no, we're going to slow and steady. That's what Jason says, slow and steady. Your time's going to come, but I'm being taught to be patient. Patience, man. Your time's going to come. So I'm just trying to enlighten the young folks, or just not the young folks, anybody that's out there and they think that the street life is this and that. Yeah, it's cool, but guess what? All that money you got, you're going to lose it. Because like I said, they're going to take it when they kick your door in, or they're going to find it on you, or somebody's going to steal it, or you're going to spend it on commissary and phone calls, and the money's going to be gone. So then when you come home, it's like, I don't have nothing. But I remember how I used to be, and I'm seeing this person, they got big cars, big wheels, big rims, Jordans, Louis belts, you know what I'm saying? All of that stuff. So you want that just as well. No, because that's just going to lead you right back to prison. Your kids are going to grow up without a father. You can't raise a child through the jail phone. I told you, next time I find out you acted up in school, it's going to be me and you. You hear me? Don't be doing that. Listen to your mama. Listen to your teachers. All right, let me talk to your brother. You say the same thing to the brother. Let me talk to your sister. Heard you been acting up. Heard you been talking back. You say what you say. All right, I love you. Put your mama back on the phone. Man, you can't raise no child through no jail phone. Through no phone. You got to be there with them physically, hands-on, with the kid. I didn't want to go left with the conversation, with the video, what have you, because it all coincides together, man. Prison is just not a good place. You lose everything. Everything. Your dignity, bend over, squat, spread your cheeks, lift your sack, raise your arm, man. They take everything that you have. Everything. Respect, none of that. That's why guys get out and they can't stand authority. They can't stand correction officers. Can't stand police. Because of the way they treat you when you're in there. But guess what? Prison is prison. Would I treat someone like that? No. First of all, I wouldn't work in a prison. But I'm just saying, if I did, I wouldn't treat anyone like that. But you have a lot of people that do. Prison's not supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be a playground. You go because you broke the laws. You may not have done what you said that they said you did. But nevertheless, you've broken the laws and supposedly got to go pay your debt to society. But you never truly pay your debt to society, because when you come home, you can't vote. Eventually, you get your voting rights back. You'll never be able to carry a gun unless you get a pardon or, something like that. You go to get a nice apartment. You can get an apartment now. We're going to put you over here. But I want this apartment. No, my friend. First of all, your credit got to be, A1. And then, maybe not A1, but, we're going to do a background check on you. So these type things, you strip yourself of, man. You strip yourself of these things. Stay out here with your kids, with your family. Do the right thing, man. Do the right thing. You don't got to be in these streets. These streets is nothing but graveyard penitentiary. That's where you're going to end up at. I sure do wonder what Michelle's doing, though, to get back to, I wonder what she's doing. And, you never know, man. Perhaps she'll see this video. I don't know. We never know what's going to happen in this life. But I tell you what, when I get my money up, when I really get my money up, I'm going to get this private investigator, and we're going to find out what Michelle's doing. We're going to find out where she's at, and I'm going to personally apologize to her and just let her know, everything that I told you all. Real Kens TV. Hopefully you liked the video. Feel free to comment. Definitely share. Subscribe to the channel. You know what I mean? If you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action and this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive. Cheers. Real Kens.